he used the name One Big Beautiful Bill to help get it passed, and now to try to explain to the American people, he's suggesting we call it the Working Families Tax Cut, which is exactly what it is. It's a big component of it. It's the things that people voted for President Donald Trump to get done, things like no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We prevented the largest tax increase in American history. Every Democrat voted to increase your taxes.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Sometimes the folks who help you storm the castle aren't the best ones to help you run the castle. So too with brands and nicknames. One Big Beautiful Bill. That was the answer to whether to take one or two cracks at reconciliation. The president wanted one, hence the name. Now the focus is on the word beautiful. With midterms looming, can the party in power fight through the smoke and let voters know what's really in the law? Let's find out. James Blair is Deputy White House Chief of Staff and joins us now. Welcome, Mr. Deputy Chief. What is the biggest misconception or source of misinformation about the legislation the president signed?
Well, look, Trey, what has happened here is what always happens. Democrats try to brand anything Republicans do as bad. They're dishonest about what is actually in the legislation, and the mainstream media, the legacy media, the leftist media goes along with it. So it is obviously our responsibility going into the midterms and just in general to tell the American people the truth. And here's what the truth is. The truth is this was the greatest Republican achievement and perhaps legislative achievement in the last 50 years, and it is the biggest working families tax cut package that has ever been passed in this country. All the provisions in there are very popular, Trey, and they help working people. These are things like no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime pay. Did you know, Trey, that now that this law has passed, when seniors in this country do their tax return next April, 88% of seniors in this country will pay zero tax on the portion of their income derived from Social Security due to the provisions of this law that enhance the senior deduction. There is an enhanced and permanent child tax credit, bigger than there's ever been before. Working people, people with families will all get a major tax break. That will happen in April, just 6 months from now. And I think that people will really then know the truth. And it is just our responsibility to tell them what the truth is and what's actually in the law. And that's all we're doing.
All right, James, this is what is confounding to me. You mentioned the media. Democrats claim this is a tax cut for billionaires, which is really strange because the wealthiest states are overwhelmingly blue. They vote blue. So how can the GOP do a better job of doing what you just did, which is laying out why would we help blue states? Why would we help billionaires? I mean, billionaires maybe next to anthropology professors are the largest voting bloc for Democrats. Why in the world would Republicans want to help them?
Honestly, all we have to do is tell the truth. This is just what the Democrats want to lie because they're actually afraid of the attacks that are going to come at them this election season for voting against all of these working class tax cuts. Remember, Trey, every Democrat voted against no tax on Social Security. Every Democrat voted against no tax on tips. Every Democrat voted against no tax on overtime pay. Every Democrat voted against giving more tax credits to employers so that they can give child care benefits to their employees, Trey. These are the things that Democrats fear. There's a reason that they are trying to lie and say that it's something that it wasn't, because they are actually afraid that come this year, when tax filing season comes, everybody is going to see a major tax cut, working families, working class in this country, and that's going to be the backdrop against which the midterms are fought. And the Democrats are afraid of that, pure and simple.
All right, James, I'm about a year or two away from getting that Social Security break you mentioned, but I'm getting closer with every birthday. Let me switch gears real quick. Should Congress take another crack at reconciliation or a reconciliation package before the midterms, or, in your judgment, just leave well enough alone and go into the midterms like we are?
No, we want to keep working for the American people, Trey, midterms or no midterms. And there's a number of things that we think we can do. Hopefully a reconciliation bill, but perhaps some things that are bipartisan. We'll just have to see if any Democrats want to try to get anything done at all. So far, they haven't. So far, they've been obstructionists. I expect the Democrats will try to shut down the government in a few weeks because we don't want to spend billions of dollars on foreign aid that is unnecessary. And by the way, I don't mean foreign aid to actually help countries. I don't mean foreign aid to help allies. I mean paying for things like pride parades in Prague and, the different waste and graft that you've heard about. We just cut some of that money. I think the Democrats may shut down the government over it. We'll have to see what happens. But some things I think you could see us work on, or we would like to codify the efforts we're making under President Trump's executive orders to lower drug prices in this country. We would like to bring that to Capitol Hill. We'd like to make progress on housing. Obviously, the interest rates are too high. That's something we talk about a lot. Interest rates need to come down, and we want to basically build more homes in this country, and there's some things I think we can do to do that. We'd like to see crime reform go to Capitol Hill. We would like to crack down on violent offenders, particularly in D.C., but anywhere else we can. We'll see if any Democrats want to help with that. Right now, you see Democrats defending criminals in this country. You see Democrats defending narco traffickers running drugs out of Venezuela into this country. And if I could make a comment on that, Trey, the fact that Democrats are saying that Venezuelan narco traffickers that are a terrorist cartel should be allowed to run drugs into this country when 80,000 Americans overdosed last year on illegal drugs, heavily fentanyl, it's a disgrace, Trey. So these are the things the American people, or what the Republicans are fighting for the American people. No drugs, no crime, no narco trafficking, no illegal immigration, lower drug prices, building more homes so people can afford the American dream. That's what Republicans are fighting for and will continue to in the coming months on Capitol Hill. And we'll see if any Democrat wants to come aboard and help that common sense effort.
James Blair from the great state of Florida by way of D.C. You should think about running for Congress yourself. You're young. You may have other aspirations, but you do a good job messaging things. So maybe you ought to think about that. Regardless, if you do, call me and I'll talk you out of it. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Thanks, Trey. I love my job with the president. It's a great honor. Thanks, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.